Okay. Good morning, guys. Good morning and welcome back. So this is the batch tracker sheet, Amisha, to answer your question. So we started this. We did a demo on 7th, 8th July, 8th July, and computer fundamentals are covered in the next two sessions. And then SDLC was covered in one session, and then testing life cycle. So yesterday we started performance testing. Day before yesterday, we started performance testing introduction. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
And yesterday I
So,
had covered like what are the reasons for doing performance testing. So whatever concepts are done till now is theory part only. And
okay.
all these are available on my YouTube channel as public videos. So let me quickly show you that. So we
Okay.
have a WhatsApp group for every batch, right? As we have three participants, three new participants. So this is for your information, guys. We have a WhatsApp group for every batch. So once you confirm your joining, you will be added to the WhatsApp group. And we also have a dedicated playlist URL for every batch. So all the recorded sessions will be added to the playlist URL. Okay. And this is this batch playlist URL.
Okay. I will check post to this training session, Pavan. If I need something else, I will ping you. I will go through
Yeah,
this and I will try to understand the past sessions.
sure. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Any other new joinees? Inder. And guys, refer any friends or relatives for classroom training and you will get 5,000 referral amount. Only on classroom training, you will have 5,000. You'll get 5,000 as referral amount. So if they take, I mean, not for freshers, but if someone is having career gap and if they take experience documents also from us, so you'll get 5,000 as a referral amount. Okay. And as we discussed it, right? So by the way, so as we discussed it, right? So initially, like all the performance testing fundamentals will be sessions will be running in this time during this time 8:15 to 9. And thereafter, like that batch timings would be 10:30 to 12, 10:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. I hope this is fine with everyone. So by the time we start JMeter, we will have both offline and online. Okay. So till then we will have only online sessions because one batch is currently going on. So one batch is about to be completed in a week time. So once that is completed, we will have both online and offline. As anyways, this is theory part only, right? Initial 15 days, I will be taking theory part only on fundamentals. So I'm taking online sessions. Clear, guys? So this batch is going to be completed. April ending, we started one batch in April ending. JMeter was started in May in that batch, in the month of May. And that batch was done by like almost 81 hours. Okay. We had completed 81 hours for this present 10:30 to 12 batch. And these are the concepts, that are yet to be covered. So once this batch is completed, so we will have both online and offline. And the timings will be this one, 10:30 to 12. Is it clear, guys? And if we have enough strength, we'll continue this batch also, 8:15 to 8 to 9. If we have enough strength only, then we'll continue 8 to 9 a.m. So please join, till you complete the performance testing fundamentals. Okay. If anyone cannot attend this timings, still you can join for this 8 to 9 a.m. So till we complete this performance testing fundamentals. Okay. Any queries? I'm seeing some more new participants. Rahul, can you please unmute yourself? Which Rahul is this? So yesterday we had started, what is performance? I mean, what are the 4 reasons for doing performance testing, and what are the reasons for doing performance testing for a already existing application first, right? why, in what scenarios we do performance testing for an already existing application was discussed yesterday, isn't it? Now, first, before I start today's session, so let us have some quick assessment, guys. Okay. So, Bhavya, so what is performance testing?
Performance testing is a non-functional testing used to test an application whether it has proper speed, scalability, and reliability under the expected and unexpected load.
Wonderful. Excellent. Okay. So what are the four reasons, major factors for doing performance testing? Let me ask someone else. Which Nagaraju is this? I see someone joined with display name as Nagaraju.
Yeah. Hi, Pavan.
Yeah, hi. Can you please ping me on WhatsApp once?
Yeah, sure.
I don't remember that I spoke to someone else with this name recently. All right, guys. So, what are the four major factors for doing performance testing? I think I asked someone. Who is that? Okay, let me ask Ravinder. Or why do we do performance testing for a already existing application, which we discussed yesterday? Reasons for doing PT for an already existing application. Ravinder?
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. So what are the reasons for doing performance testing, or in what scenarios we do performance testing for an already existing application?
Sorry, sir. I don't know.
You joined yesterday, right?
Yes, sir. I joined, but I did not listen properly.
Okay. So let me ask someone else, Prashanti.
Yes, sir. The four major factors for performance testing was the speed, stability, scalability, and reliability.
Okay.
Speed to check the application response, and scalability to check how stability the application is under expecting to
Under
users.
expected load. Expected
Yeah,
and unexpected load.
expected and expected users. And scalability application handle unexpected users. And reliability is the application will users have positive experience.
Right. Will users have positive experience once the application goes live?
Okay.
Right. That is reliability. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So now let us discuss today. Let us discuss what are the reasons, guys. I will be asking questions randomly, guys. We'll have a quick assessment daily. In the first 5 minutes, we'll be having some quick assessment. Okay. So can you explain some scenarios, Sushma, where we do performance testing for an already existing application, which we discussed yesterday?
To add a new for an existing application to add new
New feature.
a new
Right.
feature.
Whenever a new
To add
feature
new
or
features,
functionality is added, we have to do performance testing.
Yeah.
Guys, we discussed with examples also, with WhatsApp example, because
Yeah.
you know what, everyone is using WhatsApp,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So if you cannot, if you cannot remember, or if you cannot present yourself properly, then like it will be very difficult, guys, isn't it? Satish, what are the other reasons for doing performance testing for an already existing application? One is whenever a new feature is added or new functionality is added. What are the other scenarios where we do performance testing for an already existing application?
Like we need to check whether the build is stable or not. Like we need to check once that particular upgrade is we instead we need to check that is there any functionality should be functional is working or not. And also we need to
Next. whenever there is a software upgrade, whenever there is a hardware upgrade, right? We discussed all these yesterday, right?
Yeah, yes.
Whenever
Yes,
there is
bro.
a software upgrade or whenever there is a hardware upgrade, or it will be done as an ongoing or continuous activity in each sprint, isn't it? So I'll do one thing. Please wait. So like I will share this class notes document. Guys, as this is morning session, so I request everyone to fresh up and join. Okay. So please don't join. And also 1 second. Let me open your class notes. Please sit in a proper posture and join this. When I asked previous batch guys to turn on their video, I saw that some people are lying on the bed, sleeping on the bed and joining. Right? I observed that in few batches before. Okay, here I already mentioned few of them. Increasing number of users are adding new users, major software upgrade or hardware upgrade. Let me write down the remaining ones. All right. So these are the reasons for doing performance testing, or these are the scenarios in which we do performance testing for a already existing application, right? So suppose there is WhatsApp and some new feature is introduced to WhatsApp. For example, Meta AI was introduced very recently. Meta AI was introduced recently, right? Yesterday I had shown that, anyways, let me repeat it. Right. This is a new feature added to WhatsApp, isn't it? Meta AI. Now we know once this new feature is added, right? So even though WhatsApp is existing from many years, we need to do performance testing again, isn't it? Yes or no, guys? We need to do performance testing again, even though WhatsApp is existing from many years, because we don't know what after adding this new feature, we don't know what impact it will have, right? What impact it will have on the application. Yes or no, guys? Have you seen this Meta AI guys feature, that feature?
Yes.
Okay, right. And increasing number of users. I gave examples. Please go through the recorded session one more time. Okay, I think okay. Sorry, yesterday's session I think I did not upload it yet. Right? I'll upload it. I'll do it today. Right. And now let us understand what are the reasons or in which scenarios we do performance testing for a newly developed application. Now let's take a newly developed. Let us consider that there is a brand new application, and why should we do performance testing for that brand new application? Okay. First and foremost reason is assess readiness of production. Means assess readiness of that application to the production environment and determine the user load capacity of the existing systems. Let me use Spotlight. Okay. Assess readiness of production environment means how ready the application is to go live. That is what assess readiness of production environment, isn't it? And determine the user load capacity of the existing system. Means there is a brand new application. Suppose if you want to see how much user load can that application support. If you want to determine how much user load capacity that application is having, then we do this performance testing, right? That is one reason for doing performance testing. And then compare performance characteristics with different system configurations. Compare the performance characteristics with different system configurations. Right? Suppose if you want to see the performance of an application with different configuration, with different software configuration or hardware configuration, both of them. So when you say system configuration, so it can be software configuration or it can be hardware configuration. Clear, guys? So if you want to see the performance of the application, whether it is web application, see what is the application? What is meant by application here, guys? Navya? What is meant by application here, Navya?
Any app newly built
What is it? Any
app.
any mobile app or only mobile app?
No.
Can be website also, right?
Nice.
Okay, see, we do performance testing for web applications like IRCTC or HDFCbank.com or ICICI.com or Instagram.com. All these are web applications, isn't it? Web applications are mobile apps, right? Mobile apps. See, if it is a mobile application, that is simply called as an app. I hope you know what is the difference between application and an app. Application versus app. Usually browser-based applications, they are called as web applications. Browser-based software, that is called as an application. And mobile apps, mobile applications are called as apps. That is the difference between application and an app. Clear, guys? Or you can do performance testing for desktop applications as well. Desktop applications as well. Can you give some examples of desktop applications? What is meant by a desktop application?
Windows.
Not Windows. We don't do performance testing for Windows OS and all. Desktop application means I'll give some example. Okay. So suppose, how did you join this meeting, guys, today? Did you install Zoom meeting on your laptop or you joined from mobile?
Laptop.
Most of you installed Zoom meeting on your laptop, isn't it? And you see
Yes.
an icon like this, right? On my desktop, you are seeing one icon called Zoom Workplace, isn't it? You joined through this desktop application, isn't it?
Yeah, VLC media,
VLC media player. So these are all desktop applications.
WebEx. Yeah.
Zoom meeting, right? You can join, by the way, you can join Zoom meeting from a browser also. Yes or no? You can join Zoom meeting from a browser without installing the software on your machine also. You can go to zoom.us and you can click on join. And here you have the meeting. If you enter the meeting ID here, you will be able to join the meeting without installing the software on your machine, right? So now if you are joining from a browser, this is called as web application, isn't it? This is a web-based application, isn't it? But you install Zoom meeting on your machine, this is called as a desktop application. Understood, guys? So those desktop applications are also called as thick client applications. Desktop applications are also called as thick client applications, right? For example, Zoom software on your machine, right? Zoom Workplace installed on your machine, right? Or WhatsApp installed on your machine, isn't it? So this is, I'm right now using WhatsApp with software installed on my machine. Yes or no? This one. And now I can use WhatsApp from browser as well. See, observe here, if you use web.whatsapp.com, you can use WhatsApp from a browser as well without installing. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? This is my business WhatsApp that I'm using here, and this is my personal WhatsApp that I'm using here. For see, you know the difference between personal and business WhatsApp, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
In business WhatsApp, you will see the letter B, isn't it? And in personal WhatsApp, you will see just that phone symbol, right? So I'm using, personal WhatsApp as a software installed on my machine. So this is a desktop application, whereas this WhatsApp is a browser-based application. Or, all these browser-based applications are called as thin client applications, right? These are called as thin client applications. Okay. So thick client versus thin client. I hope you are clear about that. Thin client, versus thick client. Is it clear now what is thin client and what is thick client? Is it clear?
Sir, if we are running directly from the browser, we call simply thin client, right? No installation.
Yes. Without installing anything, because we are running that application without, here I'm using business WhatsApp without installing, on my machine. So I'm using from a browser, and browser is not meant for only this, right? So I can access any website using this browser, isn't it? Or here, if you see here, I'm using my Instagram on through a browser. So I'm using a thin client here, isn't it? or you can open Telegram also here, right? So you may be knowing that. I think telegram.org, I think, right? I can use Telegram from a browser without installing Telegram app on my Telegram application on my machine. I can use, Telegram from a browser also. Telegram.org. Is it correct, guys? Is it telegram.org? Yes. Right. So now this is a thin client. But if you install Telegram, suppose if you install Telegram, okay, you can install Telegram also, isn't it? If you install Telegram on your machine and if you are using it, right, by using this install on Windows, then you are using a thick client application. Understood, guys?
Got it, sir.
All right. And now we do performance testing for, web applications or desktop applications or mobile apps, right? We do performance testing for web applications or mobile apps or desktop applications. And in this training, I'll be covering web applications and mobile apps. Okay. Performance testing of web applications and mobile apps also. Mobile performance testing was included from the current batch only. Okay. Recently, we have added that into the course contents. Clear, guys? From the current batch only, we have added, mobile apps performance testing, because, we are getting some requirements or projects on mobile applications as well. And that will be what we thought is, that will be added advantage, additional advantage to you, to every one of you, right? But most of the institutes cover only web applications performance testing. So you will have an extra edge over them when you keep this mobile apps performance testing in your CV. But there will be high chances that your CV will be shortlisted and you'll be selected easily. Okay. Now going back to this, what are the reasons for doing performance testing for a newly developed application is? Another reason for doing is support system or application tuning. Support system or application tuning. What is meant by system tuning or application tuning? Okay. Before going to that example, I'll give a common example for application tuning. Okay. Suppose, you are having a vehicle, two-wheeler or a four-wheeler, and you are not getting good mileage from that. You are getting poor mileage or poor pickup, or where pickup is very poor. Okay. Then what will you do, guys? What can be the reason for this? What are the reasons for getting poor mileage or poor pickup from a vehicle? Guys, you know or don't know?
Servicing is not.
Uh-huh. What is that? Am I audible, guys?
Yes.
What are the reasons for getting poor mileage or poor pickup from a vehicle?
The engine is low.
Engine is
Old, very old.
okay. It can be an issue with the engine. Next, it can be a problem with fuel also, right?
Oil filters.
Oil filters. Okay. Oil filters may need to be replaced, right? And next, guys, all of you should be having some vehicles, right? Including ladies. Yes or no? You should know this, right? So it can be because of improper tire pressure. You know that even if you don't maintain proper tire pressure, right? So it should be there will be certain specifications, right? For front and back tires, this much pressure should be there, air pressure should be there. So if you don't have proper tire pressure also, you'll get poor mileage. Yes or no? And the first reason is, engine. What is that? Now if you take it to a mechanic or a technician, what does he do, guys? Suppose, these are all work fine. These are all good. There are no fuel issues. There are no oil filter issues, or proper tire pressure is maintained. What will you do, like, to get poor mileage or good mileage? Sorry. What will you do if you want to get good mileage or good pickup from an engine?
We'll tune it, sir.
Huh?
We'll tune the engine, sir.
Right. They will tune the engine. What is meant by tuning? They will adjust the engine beating, isn't it? Suppose you
Yes.
want suppose if you want good mileage, they will decrease that engine beating, right? But if you want
Yeah.
good pickup, right, they'll slightly increase the engine beating, isn't it?
Yes.
They'll tune the engine, right? So means they will adjust the engine, functionality slightly. Thereby, you will get, like a good mileage or good pickup, isn't it? So similarly, for web applications also, we can adjust the settings, software or software configurations to get a better performance from the application, from any application, right? That is called as system tuning or application tuning. To support system tuning or application tuning, we do performance testing. So we'll discuss this in detail. Like once we complete the scripting, right? Then we will discuss this in detail. I'll show you some performance issues and then how to fix them. We'll see how to fix them, right? And creating benchmark for feature systems. Creating benchmarks for feature systems. Suppose there is a brand new application. So what is meant by benchmark testing is there is something called, one of the important entry question. What is benchmark testing and what is baseline testing? One of the very important interview question. Okay. What is the difference between benchmark testing and baseline testing? Okay. So benchmark testing means initial performance of an application with less user load, one user or less user load. Benchmark testing means initial performance of an application with one user, one user accessing the application or less user load, very less user load. This is called as benchmark. Right. Baseline testing, we'll discuss that later. Okay. Once we discuss sprint concept and all, we'll discuss what is baseline testing. For now, remember, benchmark testing. So when there is a brand new application, we do performance testing of the application. We measure basically we measure how are the response times with single user or less user load for some 10 users or 20 user load. Okay. 10 or 20 users load, we do benchmark testing. Okay. That is initial performance, measuring initial performance of an application is called as benchmark testing, right? And then compare the application performance on multiple platforms. Suppose a new application is developed, right? So a new application, for example, we are getting one website developed for our institute. Till now, we don't have a full-fledged website, and we are working on, a website for our institute. So this is in still, development phase. Now, once the website is ready, right? So we have to host it on some platform, like whether on Windows or Linux or Mac OS or somewhere else on some operating system, right? Now, I would be interested to see on which platform I'll get better performance, isn't it? Whether I'll get better performance from Windows OS if I run it on Windows OS or Linux OS, I'll be interested, definitely interested, isn't it? Again, in Linux, there are different flavors of Linux called, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. RHEL means Red Hat Enterprise Linux. CentOS, Fedora, SUSE Linux, Ubuntu Linux, etc. Now, if I want to verify which platform gives which flavor of Linux gives better performance, I need to deploy that application on each of these operating systems. I need to do performance testing, including Windows. Okay. We may check on Windows also, right? So, however, most of the applications will be running on, 40% of the software applications will be running on Linux operating system, guys. Please remember this. Okay. 40% will be running on Linux operating system, 20 to 30% will be running on Windows OS. And the remaining operating systems, like you have, Mac OS, etc. Right? So if you want to compare the application performance on multiple platforms also, we need to run that application on each platform and we need to do performance testing. Then only we can determine which platform, where are we getting better performance, right? Guys, are you able to, is it something difficult to understand?
Yeah, Pavan, once repeat it again.
మీరు కొత్త అప్లికేషన్ డెవలప్ చేశారు, ఒక కొత్త వెబ్సైట్ డెవలప్ చేశారు, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, రైట్? ఐ అజ్యూమ్ దట్ దిస్ ఇస్ ఎ న్యూ వెబ్సైట్ దట్ ఐఎమ్ గెటింగ్ డెవలప్డ్, రైట్? నౌ when I develop this website, right, I should run it on some operating system, right? I should run it on some computer, and in that computer, it can be operating system can be Windows or Linux or Mac OS, isn't it? Now I will be interested to see where will I get better performance. If I have whether it gives better performance with Windows operating system or Linux operating system or Mac OS. Yes or no? Usually, Linux will give better performance than Windows. See, Windows operating system is user friendly. Windows operating system, we will use Windows operating system as a home operating system because this is user friendly. You'll have everything in the form of GUI, isn't it? But this is not, this is not good for performance. Like Miro, usually if you see any IRCTC website or HDFCbank.com website, they will be running on Linux operating system. They will not be running on Windows. Understood or no? Suppose if you see IRCTC, I'll try to see if to show you on which operating system it is running currently. Okay, on which operating system this website was hosted, website was running. Some websites show that, some websites doesn't display that. I'll try to check that. Okay. You'll see that in the response headers. You'll see that details in the response headers. I think this is not showing. This website is not showing. But I'll show you some websites, which display that information. I'll try bigbasket.com. See, e website, when we are able to access this website, right? So it is running on some computer, and that computer will be having some operating system. It can be Windows or it can be Linux. Is it clear now? Or it can be Mac OS.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if a brand new application is developed, right? So client will be interested to see on which platform we get better performance. Yes or no? On which platform do we get better performance, right? So they will deploy that application on that operating system, and on some hardware, right? So for that also, we deploy the application, do performance testing, and see like where are we getting better performance. Once we check that, then we will be running on that. Then once we check that, then we'll be using that operating system. Client will be using that operating system. Is it clear or no?
It's clear.
Yeah, it's clear. So guys, ask me like if you don't understand something, feel free to get your doubts clarified. Right? Otherwise, if you have some query in your mind, you will be thinking around that only, and you will not be focusing on the next sessions, isn't it? Next concept or the next concept. So I'm just trying to show you like, some websites display on which operating system it is running, the application is running. Some websites display that. I'm just trying to show you that one. It is showing server details here. The server name is Cloudflare. But I observed some websites display that information, guys. So 1 second. Let me try our GHMC website. I'm using developer tools, guys. I think how to open this developer tools. Every browser will have something called developer tools. Okay. And how to open this developer tools is Control Shift I is the shortcut, or function F12 is the shortcut for developer tools. Function F12 or Control Shift I. If you cannot remember the shortcut, click on these 3 dots, more tools, developer tools. Here it is. More tools, developer tools, right? And let me try some other website, GHMC website. Okay, GHMC website. No, all these are not displaying those operating system. Which operating system is that? Right. So, but we will see, we will open a lot of websites during the training, and I'll show that. Please remember that, we'll see that. Okay. On which operating system that website is running. Some websites display that information. Some websites keep it as a, they don't display that information. They don't reveal that information. But if you see here, this is running on Volt ADC server. The server that it is using is Volt ADC. Okay. We'll discuss what is that server and all. We'll discuss that later. Okay. In the coming up sessions.
Sir, it will be time consuming, right, for to check every OS for performance testing?
It is time consuming, but it is a one-time job only, right?
Okay.
See, most of the, already there are a lot of testing done, and Red Hat Enterprise Linux is the most efficient one. So most of the organizations go for Red Hat Enterprise Linux.
Okay.
Okay. Right. But if any, someone has developed new, and if they want to do testing from scratch, like they will be doing that. Right. It is a one-time thing, one-time job, isn't it? And then next reason for doing performance testing is validate any application against its performance criteria. If you want to validate any application against its performance criteria. Now, let me explain what is meant by performance criteria. Performance criteria. So what is meant by performance criteria? Anyone having a Enfield bike, guys? Enfield, or we have some sports bike, right? What are those, guys? Couldn't remember, recollect. Anyone? Royal Enfield, or there are some sports bikes. What are those, guys? 350cc and 500cc bikes. Uh-huh.
KTM.
What is that?
KTM.
KTM. Okay. KTM. Or there is one more popular brand, right?
BMW.
Huh?
BMW.
BMW. Okay. No, I am not getting the one that I am thinking. I couldn't, Harley Davidson. That's what I'm trying to recollect. Right. So why do people spend? Anyone Harley Davidson? That's it, right? Any more? Any more performance bikes? Any more sports bikes that you can recollect? What is it? What is it? Spelling, please.
TRIUMP.
Can you please come again?
Triumph.
TRIUM.
TRIUMP.
Oh, sorry. I couldn't understand really. Sorry for that. Can you please post it in the Zoom chat? Ping it in the Zoom chat. Please ping it in the Zoom chat. Okay. So these are some, these are some sports bikes, right? And how much do they cost, guys? Anyone having these bikes, guys? Anyone having these bikes, or anyone having friends who has these bikes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, TRIUMPH. Anyone took a ride on that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So why, how much is the cost of each of these?
Like I bought it in 2019 and another one in 2021.
Okay. How much is the cost, approximate cost? What is the price range?
About 2 lakhs.
About 2
About
lakhs.
2 lakhs.
Right. About 2 lakhs. Right. So why do they spend this much amount on a bike, for just a bike? What is the specialty of this bike, guys?
Performance, sir.
Performance, right? And what do you mean by performance there?
Good mileage.
No, not mileage. They don't give mileage.
Speed.
They don't give good
Speed,
mileage.
sir.
Speed and performance, isn't it? So
Performance.
you can reach 100 kilometers per hour in just 3 or 5 seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, isn't it?
Yes.
We can reach 100 kilometers per hour in 3 to 5 seconds, in just 3 to 5 seconds, isn't it? So this is the performance criteria of these sports bikes, or these, heavy CC bikes, isn't it? So they have certain performance criteria, and their load bearing capacity is also very high, isn't it? So they can pull a load of like 250 kgs or 300 kgs very easily. That is another performance criteria. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So these are the performance criteria of the sports bikes. So similarly, your websites also will be having some performance criteria. Guys, why I'm saying these examples is, it will be easy for you to remember, right? So because you will be seeing whenever you see this bikes, you will remember this, right? Like what is the performance criteria of those, or you know that already, isn't it? So now what similarly, any web application or any mobile app also will have certain performance criteria. For example, so response time, one of the performance criteria is response time should be within, the response time SLS will be within 3 to 5 seconds. That is one performance criteria of a website or a mobile app. Means suppose you send a request to any website like apple.com, right? So you should receive the response within 3 seconds or 5 seconds, not more than that, or 2 seconds, right? So this is one of the performance criteria for websites or mobile apps. What are those? They should be loaded within 3 to 5 seconds. That is one performance criteria. And if you take IRCTC example, like how many users will be using IRCTC application every day? Any idea? Okay, let me explain. So there will be 5 lakh users will be using this application per day, it seems. And when they, but all those, of course, all those 5 lakh users will not be using at once. But when as soon as Tatkal window opens, what happens, guys? There will be more number of users, right? 1 to 2 lakh users will be using Tatkal website, IRCTC website during Tatkal, right? Now, this IRCTC website has to work even with 1 lakh concurrent users. At a time, 1 lakh users, 1 to 2 lakh users will be using during Tatkal time, right? Now, your IRCTC application should support 1 lakh to 2 lakh concurrent users. That is one of the performance criteria. So application should support lakhs of users, lakhs of concurrent users. Or else, when you get concurrent users, right? So suppose if you get 10th class results or intermediate results, at that time also there will be lakhs of users who will be using that website at once, right? Yes or no? As soon as the results are released, there will be lakhs of users who will be using the website. And application should support that lakhs of users. After 1 or 2 days, no one will look at that website, isn't it? Yes or no, guys? Or if you take Amazon example, Amazon will be having lakhs of users across the globe, right? Or if you take Insta example, it will be having crores of users, right? So nowadays our day start with WhatsApp or Insta. Yes or no? Or Facebook. Previously it was Facebook, but right now, Insta or WhatsApp. Yes or no, guys? So when there are lakhs of users who are using the application should, should not have any glitches or it should not have any performance issues. So this is one of the performance criteria of the application. They should support lakhs of users. This is one of the performance criteria. And error rate should not be more than 1%. Error rate should not be more than 1%. Means suppose if you are doing fund transfer on a net banking application, sometimes fund transfer may fail, but the number of failed transactions should not be more than 1%. Okay, that is one of the performance criteria. This is one. These are all examples of performance criteria, guys. Now, if you want to verify any of these performance criteria, we need to do performance testing. That is another reason for doing performance testing. Validate any application against its performance criteria. Each application will have its own performance criteria. Okay. There will be some mission critical applications like rocket launching applications and all. They don't accept even 1% error rate also should not be there because those are mission critical applications. Or if it is a healthcare application, that should not be having 1% error rate also. But if it is a net banking application or e-commerce application, that is fine. 1% of the error rate is acceptable, right? Some transactions may fail. 1% of the transactions may fail, right? But if it is a mission critical application like rocket launching application or some healthcare application which is used by hospitals in surgeries and all, they should not have even that 1% error rate also, isn't it? Yes or no, guys?
Yes,
Able
sir.
to follow or no, guys? Understood what is meant by performance criteria of an application? Okay. Next, uncover what components of an application. Next reason for doing performance testing is uncover what components of an application suffer poor performance and under what conditions. I'll go back to the same example. If you are getting a poor mileage or poor pickup from a vehicle, there can be multiple reasons. It can be an engine issue, or it can be a fuel issue, or it can be oil filters issue, or it can be because of improper tire pressure, or like maintenance is not good, right? It requires service. Maybe, it requires proper maintenance. It can be a maintenance issue also, isn't it? Right? So there can be multiple reasons, right? Similarly, for any website, if there is any website, and any website will be, I'll show you the architecture of any website, web application, of any web application. So this is a typical architecture of a 3-tier application. 3-tier means a web application. Okay, it's mentioned here, observe here. So most common architecture, widely deployed, primarily designed for HTML web browsers. So this is how your architecture looks like for IRCTC or HDFCbank.com, or Instagram.com, or Facebook or Flipkart, etc. This will be the typical architecture of any web application. Now, if the application is not performing well, do you know some websites that that are very showing very poor performance, doesn't work properly? Can you name some websites which does, I
Sir,
remember some, yes,
US travel docs, sir. US travel docs.
US travel docs.
Yeah, for visa interviews, we have to schedule, interview
Okay.
slots. So
Hmm.
it's very low performance, sir. Yeah.
Okay, this website, okay. Right. So, so this will be the typical architecture that any web application will have this kind of architecture. You will have something called web server, app server, DB server. We'll discuss in detail. So this is in slide 53. We are not at there. So, once we, in this first 15 days, we'll discuss this. Okay. So, but when you are getting some poor performance, right, it can be, and these are the components of that application. These are the different components. What is meant by a component, guys? What is the meaning of a component? Guys, you know that, most of you know that. Component means a part of something, a small part of something is called as a component, right? A small part of something, a small part of something is called as a component. STH under something is called as a component. Now, so here, if you observe here, any website is made up of, multiple components, like you'll have web server, you'll have app server, you'll have database server, you'll have something called load balancer. Now, if there is some poor performance, it can be because of any of these components. It can be the issue may be lying anywhere in here, or issue can be with any component. If you want to find out which component is causing poor performance, right? Then we have to do performance testing and identify that. Uncover means discover, or uncover, or discover like what components of an application suffer poor performance and under what conditions, right? And then find any performance bottlenecks. To find any performance bottlenecks. Performance bottlenecks means nothing but performance issues, right? If there are any bottlenecks with the application, then also we do that performance testing. To find out that also we do performance testing. So these are the scenarios, or these are the reasons for doing performance testing for a newly developed application. Okay. So is it clear, guys, or any queries? Is it clear, or any queries, guys? Able to follow, guys, everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So see, in all these scenarios, we do performance testing. These are the different reasons for doing performance testing. Yesterday, we discussed what are the reasons for doing performance testing for a already existing application. And today we discussed, why should we do performance testing for a newly developed application? For example, once I develop this website, I'll do performance testing. I will be interested to do performance testing. How do we do performance testing? We'll use some tool like LoadRunner or JMeter, and we first identify which pages will be visited most frequently, isn't it? Suppose there is Amazon application. So which page do you visit more frequently, guys, or which feature do you use more frequently?
Search.
Right. For searching a product. That is what we do, right? As soon as we are on Amazon page, if you want to search for if you want to place an order, first you will search for that product, isn't it? That is the most critical business flow, isn't it? Searching a product is the most critical business flow, important business flow. And then next one, what is the next important business flow?
Adding to wish list or adding to a cart.
Right. Adding to wish list or add the product to a cart and place order, isn't it? And checkout. That is the next important business flow, isn't it? So we will identify all these critical business flow and then we do performance testing for all those important business flows. So we'll discuss that, in detail in the coming up sessions. So those who missed previous sessions, I had shared this playlist URL in the WhatsApp group yesterday also. So here it is. This is the WhatsApp group guys, and this is the playlist URL. Okay. Web and mobile performance testing training with JMeter, BlazeMeter, etc. And if you click on that playlist URL, you will get all the recorded sessions of this batch like this, right? These are, there are 6 recorded sessions belonging to this batch. All are theory concepts. You can easily understand those theory concepts, whatever are completed. So please watch them, please watch them. And if you have any queries, you will not have any queries mostly. But if you still have any queries, please post it in the WhatsApp group or post it in WhatsApp to me. Okay. So I'll share this playlist URL for new joinees for the sake of new joinees. I'm sorry.
Before we are ending up this session, I just have a query.
Yes. Yes, please.
So for one of the application insurance domain, for one of the application we were testing. So whenever we are trying to save some, the ERP PeopleSoft application migration was going on. So we were trying to add the employees and we are trying to save, clicking on save button, and it was taking too long for saving that particular record. So we have created defect under the category of performance, but immediately some of the folks from performance team, they came and all the times they used to reject the defect, saying that it is some migration is happening, application maintenance time, downtime, this is not related to the performance kind of reasons they use it to say. So how exactly we will come to know that it is really a performance issue, or within minutes we raised the defect, they used to clear some cache, or I don't know from backend what actions they used to do. It used to work after their response, but they used to throw all the times on the downtime or maintenance time 12 to 1. So that kind of reasons they used to say.
Okay. No, if they are, immediately fixing the issue, that is not that's not a, maintenance. That's not because of maintenance or downtime, obviously.
Correct. Yeah.
Isn't
Our
it?
doubt
Because,
also the same, but we at the same time, unfortunately, we couldn't prove that because they are the developers and we are just the testers who are just monitoring the front end GUI application alone.
okay. So you can, try, you can try in this way. So one thing is like, see, first of all, that is not a valid argument. So someone who is having common sense will understand that, because if it is maintenance or downtime, they cannot fix the issue immediately after you raise the defect. Isn't it? So one way to check that is you can use again, try with developer tools once to identify if there are any, no, even you cannot find that with developer tools. Sorry, you cannot find that with, you cannot prove that with the help of developer tools.
That's right.
No.
Also, developer tools that time we tried for PeopleSoft ERM applications, it was not working. The payroll module and the other modules, it was not supposed to open. Client restrictions were there. We couldn't prove, and all the rejected defects on our head that time. So that was the case as well. From that time onwards, this was bugging me. So how performance?
No, you can check the server logs. See, you can check the server logs to understand, what they are, what were they doing to fix that issue immediately. I mean, they're fixing immediately, but I think they are showing a temporary solution. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe they are restarting the server. See, maybe they are restarting the server, simply restarting the server. So what happens actually is, it can be, is it a Java application or a .NET application?
It is mostly Java.
if it is a Java application, right, it can be a heap memory issue.
Mhm.
Heap memory issue. So what is meant by heap memory? So for any Java application, some amount of memory will allocated to the Java application, amount of memory allocated to a Java application, to a Java application is called as heap memory. Okay. Java application is called as heap memory. Now, so maybe, they are able to fix that issue by either by restarting the server. What happens is when you restart the server, all the memory will be there are some memory leaks in the application.
Mhm.
And when they restart the server, right, all the memory will be refreshed, right? So we'll discuss this, in the Java concepts. When we'll discuss these Java concepts. But to answer your question, it can be a memory issue. Means there are some memory leaks, and they are simply immediately fixing that, by restarting the server. That can be one reason, right?
Mhm.
Or else they are clearing the logs. Mostly this will be the reason. I believe that this can be the reason with the limited information that I have now.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So how do you identify that is you can check, if you go to the server logs, you will be able to find out whether they are restarting server or at what time the server was restarted and all. You can find it in the server logs.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay. And that way, you'll get a basic idea like how are they able to fix it. But if you have heap memory issues, right, it can be code issue. Instead of fixing the code issues, they are giving a temporary solution.
Mm.
Because fixing the code issues is a bit difficult than restarting the server, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So that can be the reason, or it can be a settings issue, some setting configuration issue.
Mhm.
Okay. And if they are fixing it immediately, that is a simple solution. If they restart the server, most of the issues will be fixed. But that is not a correct solution. That's a temporary solution, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right then. So we'll call it a day, and we'll continue tomorrow. So tomorrow we are going to discuss what are the different types of performance testing. Important session, guys. And tomorrow's session would be the last demo session. Tomorrow is Friday, right? So tomorrow's session would be the last demo session. And once I explain these different types of performance testing, I'll show you some graphs, and you need to identify what type of test that graph best represents. Okay. So each of these graph represents one type of testing. So once I explain different types of testing, so you need to identify what type of test does that graph best represents, right? In interviews, they will not show you graph but they will ask you to draw the graph. Okay, that we will do that later. But initially, like tomorrow, we'll discuss there are different types of performance testing. You have something called load testing, soak testing, stress testing, spike testing, etc. So, and every application doesn't require all these types of testing. One more thing. So don't assume that, oh my God, do we need to do these many types of testing if you are into performance testing? No, every application doesn't require all these types of testing. Based on the requirement, you have to define like what type of testing does it require, right? We'll discuss about different types of performance testing in detail in tomorrow's session, and then we'll have one quick assessment, right? So with this, I will close the demo sessions, and from Monday onwards, those who confirm their joining only can be allowed into the training, live training. Okay.
Okay.
Good question. So we discussed about benchmark and baseline testing, and I told that I'll explain baseline testing later on, right? So
Okay.
what is this baseline testing is basically your application development is continuous. It is an ongoing activity, right? In every sprint, some developers will be adding some new features, isn't it? Application development is a continuous process, yes or no?
Yeah.
So, and like most of the projects are following agile methodology nowadays, and they break it into multiple sprints, isn't it?
Yeah.
2 weeks is called as one sprint. Usually 2 weeks will be called as one sprint. And now in every sprint, sprint means 2 weeks duration or 10 business days. Duration or 10 business days is called as one sprint. Right. So in every sprint, some new feature will be added. Some new features, developers may be writing code, some new feature, developing some new feature or new functionality, right? or like they will be fixing some defects, doing some bug fixes, isn't it? Doing some bug fixes, right? Or they may be making some configuration changes. Now, suppose like this is the current sprint will be, if you're like it in a month there will be 2 sprints, right? We are in July, so April, May, June, July is third quarter, isn't it? Right now we will be in Q3 sprint 2. Yes or no? This is Q3 quarter 3 and sprint 2, second sprint of this month, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right. Jan to March is first quarter, right? And April
Yes,
to
sir.
June is second quarter, and July to July, August, September is third quarter, isn't it? So Q3. And this is second sprint in this month, or in this quarter, it is second sprint. Now, in Q3 sprint 1, developers might have written some code, right? They might have written some code to add some new feature or new functionality to fix some bugs, etc. in the previous sprint, right? Now what we do is, in this sprint, we do testing for that new feature, right? And we will take one successful test as a baseline. Guys, beginners, please ignore this discussion. You will need some time to understand this. So anyways, we'll discuss these concepts again later on, right? So for every sprint, we will take one successful test as a baseline. One successful test will be considered as a baseline.
Okay.
As a baseline. Okay. What is the reason for this is, what is the purpose of this is, now in sprint 2 also developers will add some new features, right?
Correct.
Isn't it?
Existing fixes plus new
Right.
feature.
Existing fixes plus new features. Now suppose one of that code, they add some new code, and like one of that code is causing some issue, right? So we should have some numbers to compare with, right? Suppose like after that, if you want to say that after adding that new code, there is some improvement in the performance or degradation in the performance, but how do you compare? You should have some numbers to compare, isn't it? So we will take one successful test as a baseline in every sprint, so that we can compare with the next sprint. Understood or no?
One successful test in the sense only one test scenario.
No. Now one successful load test. We'll take one successful load test as a baseline.
Okay.
Okay. So suppose in the last sprint we did one load testing and it went fine without any errors or any issues. We'll take that as a baseline. In that previous sprint, we got the response times like this. Let us say you got response times like this. Home page was loaded in 2 seconds. Login took 3 seconds, etc. Login took 3 seconds, etc. in the Q3 sprint 1, let's say. Okay. And now in the current sprint, suppose you got the response times like this in Q3 sprint 2, right? Q3 sprint 2. These are the response times are like this, observed to be like this. Some home page is taking 3 seconds now, and login is taking 5 seconds. Let's assume that this is the scenario. Now in the last sprint or in the last release, home page took 2 seconds, but right now home page is taking 3 seconds. Now what does that mean? Because of some changes in the code or because of some changes in the application, there is degradation in the performance, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Or suppose if there is any improvement, for example, previously login took 3 seconds, but now login took 2 seconds. Now, something, some changes done on the application is causing this, this improvement or degradation, isn't it? Now, immediately suppose home page, there is degradation in the home page performance. Home page is taking more time than before. See, maybe it sounds like it is only 1 second here, but if you calculate in terms of percentage, there is 50% of degradation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is 50% degradation, right? So immediately we need to call it out, saying that, hey, like last sprint, home page took only 2 seconds, but right now it is taking 3 seconds. Some code which is added in the current sprint is causing some issue, right? And you need to call it out, or you need to highlight that. You need to raise a defect for that, right?
Oh.
And how can you raise that? Only when you measure in each sprint, if you take one test as a baseline, then only you can compare with the previous numbers, right? So this is called as baseline testing. So or this is called as baseline. We'll take one successful load test as a baseline, and we'll compare the next sprint results with the current sprint baseline. Or every sprint will be compared with the previous release baseline. Every sprint results will be compared with previous release baseline. Understood? Or?
Yeah. But
So to
developers, how they will reduce this time? Like their coding, they cannot delete or comment or something, right?
No, they can revert back the code, or they have to fix it. They need to identify. Developers need to identify what is causing this high response times, and it is their responsibility to fix them.
Okay.
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 Our
So
job
now
is
I
to.
understood. So as soon as the developers, if they are done with their coding, first level, they have to call it the performance testers or developers. They have to give demo or something. They have to monitor the performance. Either it's upgrading or downgrading. Then only they will put the code in staging or QA.
Exactly. Yes.
Mm.
Not in QA, but like see, first the new code will be deployed into like SIT environment, and then QA environment, and then performance test environment. So once we do performance testing and make sure that there are no performance degradations, then only we will give a sign off to the build. We will decide whether that build should go into production or not.
Okay.
Right. That is why this benchmark and baseline is very important. You understand, taking baseline in every sprint is very, very important, because that will tell you where things have gone wrong, right? In which sprint or in which code or in which feature caused a performance degradation or performance improvement, right? So baseline testing is very important. That is why, this is one of the important interview questions. All right. And we'll discuss all this in detail. We'll discuss, once we complete scripting and once we go to executions and we prepare a report, like I will explain in detail. Like I will explain, what details we provide in a, let me show you some of the previous batch documents. So I'll explain like, what are the details that we provide in a performance test report. All right. And all we'll discuss those concepts. We provide different types of report, like high level report and detailed report. Okay. So, and what details we provide in high level report and what details we provide in the detailed report. Observe here. So in the high level report, we provide, the current test results and the previous release baseline. And if like here, there is a degradation. Previously, home login was taking 2 seconds. Now it is taking 4 seconds. So there is some degradation here. Again, payment transaction also degraded, or, checkout transaction also degraded. But order history, there is an improvement in the performance. So we need to compare the current test results with the previous release baseline like this always. And also we should compare with the SLAs also. We need to always compare with the SLAs as well. Right. So we'll discuss in detail in the last 2 weeks. We'll discuss this in the reporting part. Right. This is for others, guys. We will revisit all these concepts again in detail in the last 2 weeks. Okay. So with this, I'll conclude today's session, guys. I'm stopping the recording.